And I think we are live. At least that's what it looks like up there. So I'd like to welcome you to the Sunshine Coast Regional District regular board meeting of Thursday, December 9th, and acknowledge that we are on the territory of the Seashell and Squamish Nations. We have an amended agenda, and I believe it's being uploaded to the website currently. It will be there shortly. We've added a few items. Are there any other changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda other than what we have in front of us? Yes, Director, McMahon. I'm going to write names down. It's one of those days.
Right. I'd like to add an item of new business. Stormwater emergencies.
Thank you. Now, I do note that there is an item in the minutes of the board meeting, the last board meeting, that references stormwater. And I thought because that is where the letter is requested.
Sorry, which item is?
Hang on, I've got it highlighted here.
Page 21 of the agenda.
Page 21 of the agenda? Yeah. Yes, 18. Yeah, the original agenda. Oh, this is a different letter.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yep, okay, so under new business, we're going to add in stormwater emergency. Emergencies. Anything further to be added to the agenda? Seeing none, I'd look for a motion to adopt the amended agenda as amended. Moved, seconded, all in favor. Thank you. So first up is the regular board meeting minutes of November 25th, 2021. Any errors or omissions in these minutes? Seeing none, I'd look for a motion to adopt the minutes. Moved. Is there a seconder? Seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Then business arising from the minutes and unfinished business. Okay, I actually have a few things highlighted in here. There's just some for board and for the community. Out of these minutes adopted, there will be a number of letters that will be going out. One is with regards to correspondence from UBCM regarding short-term accommodations. Another one would be a follow-up with regards to WASAC and the potential use of reclaimed water. There's also a response back to Minister of the Environment, George Hyman, with regards to recycling materials and Recycle BC and the recycling and disposal of drywall. Another one will be going out with regards to iced tea and requesting that Chair McMahon or Vice Chair McMahon be appointed to the iced tea board. And a final one with regards to stormwater impacts on areas bordering Town of Gibsons and Area E Elphinstone. So a number of communications to follow out of those. Any other business arising out of the minutes? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to reports. I'd look for a motion to receive all the reports and communications. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Number 3, Corporate Administrative Services Committee recommendations numbers 1 through 9 of November 25th. Are there any that any of the directors would like pulled for separate consideration? Seeing none, I'd look for a motion to receive and adopt. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you. Amendment late item 3A. This is with regards to recommendation number 4 and 5 of the Infrastructure Services Committee meeting of this morning. Look for a motion to receive and adopt. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Moving on to number 4. This is board appointments. So what we'd like to do is go through and identify the changes from our previous appointments. So, yes,
Sorry, Chair, just on the item 3A,
yes.
I believe recommendation 4 had Director Pratt voting in opposition to it, and that's not reflected here. And also, I did not see Director Pratt vote, so I don't know if she wanted to vote opposed to that or not.
Director Pratt?
I'm happy to vote opposed. Well, actually, I'm not happy to vote opposed, but I would certainly like that registered.
Thank you. So for recommendation number 4, we'd like to have the record show that Director Pratt is opposed to the recommendation. Thank you, Director Toth and Director Pratt. So in our package, the changes that will be made are for the Solid Waste Management Plan Monitoring Advisory Committee, so PMAC. We'll be moving from Director McMahon and Director Lee to Director McMahon and Director Toth. Joint Use of Schools Subcommittee has appointees Director Pratt and Director Seegers with alternate Director Beamish. Joint Watershed Management Advisory Committee will be appointees Director Hiltz, Beamish, McMahon, Seegers with alternate Director Pratt. Then down to Municipal Finance Authority, changes to Director Seegers with alternate Director Hiltz. Municipal Insurance Association is Director Seegers with Director Ties. Then the Metro Vancouver Aboriginal Relations Committee is going to change to SCRD appointee alternate director David Kroll. With this one, particularly for the community, this meeting happens typically on a Thursday. And what we found is if the directors are actually sitting at this table, they can't attend. So Director Kroll has indicated he would take that on. Island Coastal Economic Trust, we would appoint Director McMahon, and that will be following up a letter to the ICT Board. AVICC Special Committee on Solid Waste Management will be Director McMahon and Director Toth. And then the Ocean Watch Action, it was called something else before. It is now called the Ocean Watch Action Network. That will stay as Director Hiltz. Then we have Vancouver Island and Coastal Communities Climate Leadership Plan Steering Committee. The directors have indicated they, instead of the change that we had originally indicated, I think, which is in this package, they'd like to have it stay as Director McMahon and Director Ties. Other than that, there are no changes. I know. It'll show up in our next minutes. Any questions about any of those? All right, so I'd look for a motion to adopt the liaison and board appointments as indicated. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you. Financial update. And we have this in our amended agenda. So I will turn over to Tina Perot, our Chief Financial Officer.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this report is to make the final financial plan amendments that have occurred since our financial plan bylaw. We had the first version presented in July of this year, and these are the ones that have occurred since the end of July up until December, up until today, actually. So the financial plan amendments that are incorporated in today's agenda have been inputted in this particular report. So again, this is required per legislation, which is that any financial plan amendments that are approved by the board, the bylaw needs to be subsequently approved. So the bylaw is included in the agenda, and a summary of the recommendations have been attached. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I just had to get some Kleenex for the guy sitting beside me. Any questions? I think we've just recently received this report, so give us just a little time to whip through it. Perhaps you could talk about page 28C and D and E with regards to the incremental expenses.
Are you talking about the, sorry, I might be on the wrong report at the moment. Are you talking are you on the EOC agenda item or the financial plan bylaw amendment?
We're in number 5.
Sorry, my computer's just acting funny.
Amended agenda? I don't have an EOC one.
I have financial update emergency.
Yes, number 5, financial update, emergency response to regional flooding events.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were on the financial plan bylaw amendment.
No,
So my
sorry.
apologies.
No, sorry, number 5.
Okay, so this particular report is in front of you regarding the recent EOC events for flooding on the Sunshine Coast. And so several updates have been provided through committee on the various occurrences that have happened through infrastructure, parks, and our various services. But what hadn't been provided was whether there was any financial implications and financial plan amendments required for this particular event. So we have provided a report, and subsequently the events have been covered and any financial implications have been covered within existing budgets within the services. So at this point, we're not requesting any additional funds by the board at this time, and we continue to work on the particular recovery events. So this particular report, again, only addresses the response, and a subsequent report will be provided with options for recovery. And so what has been outlined in the report is what the next steps associated with that are. So staff are still assessing what those look like, and the majority of them seem to be within our parks services. So there will be further information. We're also trying to explore with Emergency Management BC on what disaster recovery funding would look like. And again, for the regional district, this would be new. We've never undertaken this type of initiative or request from the province before. So again, we look to provide more information and options to the board in January. Of course, this would most likely have to be in conjunction prior to our financial plan amendment bylaw, because some of them might have some financial implications. So again, this report is just to address the financial aspects of the EOC, and staff are available if there's any other specific questions regarding the incidents listed. Thank you.
Thank you. I think what staff are finding is, and this is coming to the board, is that there are 2 pieces when we're dealing with these emergencies. One is response. So that's immediate response that has to happen for life and safety. And then once we get through that piece, then we have the recovery. And the recovery part is where we don't really know what's covered and what's not covered. And staff are actually working with EMBC to find out, and then we'll need to come back to us with some more clarification about what costs would be that we would need to incur to bring these parks, et cetera, back up to the standard they were before. That's going to be a financial decision that'll be coming back to us once more information is available. So I'm going to go to Director Hiltz and then Director McMahon.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, a question. It's on 28B. It's with regards to the Grantham's pump house station. Just if there's an update about this, how damaged is it, I suppose? Is it operating? Thanks.
Go ahead, Director GM Rosenboom.
Thank you very much for the question. The pump house was already offline at the time of the erosion to occur. So since we removed power and any chemicals that were in the building at the moment, at the time. Over the last 2 days, staff have been, and contractors have been working to return the creek back into in its original creek bed. We received approvals for that from the regulatory agencies, and we hope to complete that work or by the end of the day or in upcoming days. So by then, any potential further impacts to the pump house are permanently mitigated.
Thank you. Director McMahon?
Yeah, we will know the direct costs, eventually, like the cost of repairing Chester House. But there are also a lot of indirect costs, like all the staff time and energy that's being taken away from regular work plans. And as this was the 4th emergency in less than 2 years, this is very concerning, not least because a number of these stormwater incidents were entirely avoidable. These are not natural disasters. Whitaker Creek is a human-caused disaster because the stormwater infrastructure that was put in place there 40 or 50 years ago was basically abandoned, neglected, and allowed to rest out so that the creek washed out and is continuing to wash out, affecting a lot of private properties. And this simply isn't good enough. That's why I asked for the new item of new business, but we could talk about it now, which is to write to the province and urge them to deal with neglected stormwater infrastructure across the province, and also the cumulative effects, the cumulative impacts, which we mentioned before, of land use decisions that are being made in isolation. So we've had a number of situations where, and Whitaker Creek, again, perfect example, neglected infrastructure has rotted out, and then logging took place upland of that creek, adding to the water load in that creek, and nobody at the province appears to be responsible, paying attention, whatever. So I was going to suggest a letter, and I failed to prepare for this, for which I apologize. Somebody else want to blither while I think about this?
Well, we have some recommendations on page 28A that staff would like us to move. Director Hiltz?
Sure, I'll move those recommendations on 28A.
And is there a seconder for the recommendations? Seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. And then did you want to think about that, Director McMahon, until we get to new business, and then we can, okay, perfect. So that's item number 5. Moving on to item 5A. Director Ties, would you like to speak to 5A?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was contacted by the Roberts Creek Community Association, and they would like to apply for a grant to put some traffic calming measures in as part of the Vision Zero in road safety grant program. It includes a solar-powered, one second, let me go to the right page here. Solar-powered speed indicators in front of the school, and perhaps some speed bumps, although that would be something MOTI would have to be part of. And the SCA and the RCCA would like a letter of support for this application. Separately, I've recently gotten several emails about people speeding through the heart of the creek, especially between the Legion and the stop sign, which is currently still a 50-kilometer-per-hour zone. And apparently it used to be a 30-kilometer-per-hour zone, and that at some point went away. So that's an interesting fact. But yeah, so I'm all for traffic calming through the heart of the creek, especially in front of the school, where there's a lot of kids all day, every day, even when school's not in session. So I would like to ask for the following motion. That the SCRD board write a letter of support for the RCCA regarding the Vision Zero road safety grant, and that the letter be sent on December 9th, which is today, 2021, because the deadline is tomorrow. So I apologize to staff and everyone involved, but that's the deadline that was given to me. So they're always a little bit late and coming in hot.
I think that's what we've seen through COVID here, is the turnaround time has been very quick. All right, is there a seconder for the recommendation? Seconded, thank you. Director McMahon? You're not speaking to that? Okay. Anybody like to speak to the recommendation? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. Moving on to bylaws. So we're moving on to number 6, Annex D. This is Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 422.39, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District revised water rates and regulations bylaw number 422, 1995. And we're looking at first, second, third reading and adoption. Voting are participants, weighted vote, A2, B2, D2, E2, F2, Seashell 6. So I'd look for someone to move first reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Director Toth.
Sorry, Chair, I just wanted to say that I'm going to be voting against this all the way through, and I would like it recorded. I think I said what I needed to say last time, so as long as it's recorded through
Thank
the
you.
process, I'm good.
Okay, so would you like to, all those opposed to the recommendation on the floor? Thank you. Moving on to second reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 422.39, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District revised water rates and regulations bylaw number 422, 1995. I'd look for someone to move second reading. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. Moving on to third reading. Yeah, we'll have it recorded all the way through for you.
Sorry, I was checking on whether Director McMahon wanted her vote recorded or not.
Thank you. Would you like it recorded? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, she'd like her vote recorded as well. So Sunshine Coast Regional District Water Rates and Regulations Amendment bylaw number 422.39, 2021 for third reading. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you, and we'll record those. Sunshine Coast Regional District Water Rates and Regulations Amendment bylaw number 422.39, 2021. Moved adoption. Moved. Seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 7. So I'm just going to move on to the agenda here. So this is Annex E, pages 35 through 37. Sunshine Coast Regional District Sewage Treatment Facilities Service Unit Amendment Bylaw, number 428.23, 2021. We're looking for first, second, third reading and adoption. Voting participants, weighted vote, A2, B2, D2, E2, and F2. No, number 7, no, Seashell's not a voting member of this one. So number 7, we've got Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 428.23, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District Sewage Treatment Facility Service Unit bylaw number 428, 1996. I'd look for someone to move first reading. Director Pratt has her hand up. It doesn't show on there. It shows here. Director Pratt.
I will be continuing with my consistency of voting against all sewage treatment facility increase, or well, at all rates this year.
Thank you. And would you like that recorded through all of the?
I would like it recorded through everything.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I'd look for someone to move first reading. Moved. Is there a seconder? Seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you. That's first reading. Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 428.23, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District Sewage Treatment Facilities Service Unit Bylaw number 428, 1996. And someone move second reading. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Those opposed? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 428.23, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District Sewage Treatment Facilities Service Unit Bylaw number 428, 1996. And someone move third reading. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? And then those opposed? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 428.23, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District Sewage Treatment Facilities Service Unit Bylaw number 428, 1996, and someone to move adoption. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to item number 8. This is item number 8, Annex F, pages 38 through 39. This is Wood Creek Park Sewer User Rates Amendment Bylaw number 430.14, 2021. This is voting all directors, 1 vote each. So this is for Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 430.14, a bylaw to amend Wood Creek Park Sewer User Rates Bylaw number 430, 1996. I look for someone to move first reading. Moved? Seconded? All right, Director McMahon.
So I'm just curious as to why this, I know why everybody votes, because the service is only one area, but why isn't it a weighted vote, given that it's a financial matter?
The rule actually is if it's one director eligibility, all directors vote, and it's a corporate vote. It's not a weighted vote in that circumstance.
Thank you. So we have on the floor first reading of this bylaw. All those in favor? And any opposed? Thank you. And just for the record, Director Toth has left the room prior to this vote. So Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 430.14, a bylaw to amend Wood Creek Park Sewer User Rates Bylaw number 430, 1996. And I'd look for motion for second reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. And those opposed? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 430.14, a bylaw to amend Wood Creek Park Sewer User Rates Bylaw number 430, 1996. Look for someone to move third reading. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Then Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 430.14, a bylaw to amend Wood Creek Park Sewer User Rates Bylaw number 430, 1996. And look for someone to move adoption. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? Thank you. And those opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the next bylaw. This is Sunshine Coast Regional District Waste Collection Amendment Bylaw number 431.26, 2021. This is Annex G, pages 40 to 41. We're looking for first, second, third reading and adoption. Voting would be participants with weighted vote B2, D2, E2, and F2. So this is Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 431.26, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District Waste Collection Bylaw number 431, 1996. And I'd look for someone to move first reading. First, moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 431.26, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District Waste Collection Bylaw number 431, 1996. And someone to move second reading. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Waste Collection Amendment Bylaw number 431.26, 2021. And look for someone to move third reading. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? Thank you. And Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 431.26, a bylaw to amend Sunshine Coast Regional District Waste Collection Bylaw number 431, 1996. And someone to move adoption. Moved, seconded, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Moving on to our next bylaw. This is number 10, Annex H, pages 42 to 44. This is, Painted Boat Sewage Treatment Facilities Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 644.7, 2021. And this is for first, second, third reading and adoption, voting all directors, 1 vote each. So, Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 644.7. This is a bylaw to amend painted boat community sewage treatment fees and charges bylaw number 644, 2012. Look for first reading. Moved. Is there a seconder? Seconded. All those in favor? Okay, and those opposed? Thank you. Moving on to Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 644.7, a bylaw to amend painted boat community sewage treatment fees and charges bylaw number 644, 2012 for second reading. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 644.7, a bylaw to amend painted boat community sewage treatment fees and charges bylaw number 644, 2012 for third reading. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. And opposed? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 644.7, a bylaw to amend painted boat community sewage treatment fees and charges bylaw number 644, 2012 for adoption. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. And opposed? Thank you. Moving on to the next bylaw. This is number 11, Annex I, pages 45 through 46. This is for Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 714.5, 2021 for first, second, third reading and adoption, voting all directors, 1 vote each. So, Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 714.5, a bylaw to amend Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Fees and Charges Bylaw number 714, 2018. Someone to move first reading. Moved. Seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. And those opposed? Thank you. And then Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 714.5, a bylaw to amend Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Fees and Charges Bylaw number 714, 2018 for second reading. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Thank you. All right. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 714.5, a bylaw to amend Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Fees and Charges Bylaw number 714, 2018 for third reading. Moved. Seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 714.5, a bylaw to amend Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Fees and Charges Bylaw number 714, 2018, and this would be for adoption. Moved. Seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. And those opposed? Thank you. Moving on to item 12. This is added to our agenda, and this is over to Ms. Perot. This is our 2021-2025 financial plan bylaw amendments.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this is what I thought you were on this agenda topic earlier. And so again, this, to reiterate what I mentioned earlier, was this particular financial plan amendment is to update the bylaw for approved changes that have occurred since the last amendment in July. And so attached here provides a summary of the recommendations and the subsequent items that have been amended in this version. So this one gets reflected in and updated in our bylaw. And this is per the Local Government Act. Thank you.
Thank you. Directors, any questions? Corporate Officer?
Thank you, Chair. I'm just noticing the vote on this amendment should be a weighted vote.
So
All directors.
This would be all directors. It would be like A2, B2, D2, E2, F2, and Seashell 6.
Gibson's 3,
Gibson's
SIGD 1.
SIGT 1. So like the one for number 13. Okay, thank you. Any questions by directors? Director McMahon.
I'd be happy to move the Recommendations on page 47,
46A,
46A.
46A. Is there a
46A.
seconder for that recommendation? Seconded? All right, so voting is a weighted vote. This is A2, B2, D2, E2, F2, Seashell 6, Gibson's 3, and SIGD 1. All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? None opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, I'm just moving my way through all this paper with the various bits and pieces. Moving on to item number 13, Annex J.
Point of order, Chair, I
Sorry,
think you
thank
need
you.
to read the bylaw and adopt it too, please.
Thank you. Okay, I have to find the bylaw then. It's in this stack. Thank
Page-
you.
Page 46D.
46D. Aha. Thank you. So, page 46D, and we're looking at first, second, third reading and adoption for this one as well. So, we've got Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 731.2, a bylaw to amend the financial plan for the years 2021, 2025. I'd look for someone to move first reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? None opposed. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 731.2, a bylaw to amend the financial plan for the years 2021 to 2025. And someone to move second reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 731.2, a bylaw to amend the financial plan for the years 2021, 2025. And someone to move third reading, please. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. And then Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 731.2, a bylaw to amend the financial plan for the years 2021, 2025, and someone to move adoption. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Now we move on to item number 13, Annex J. This is 2022 Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw. And back over to Ms. Perot.
Yeah, so this particular bylaw is to supplement some of our operational funds as we transition to receiving our tax requisition funds through the surveyor of taxes, as well as those from member municipalities. And so essentially we have a revenue anticipation bylaw, which allows us to borrow money in the interim till we receive those on August the 1st.
Thank you. So, directors, there's a recommendation on page 47. Look for someone to move the recommendation. Moved. Seconded. All in favor? Thank you. So we move to the actual bylaw. This is on page 50 in our packages. So this will be Sunshine Coast Regional District 2022 Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 733/2021. We have moved receipt of the report. We are looking for first, second, third reading and adoption. This is weighted vote, voting all directors, A2, B2, D2, E2, F2, Seashell 6, Gibson's 3, and SIGD 1. So this is Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 733, a bylaw to provide for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. I'd look for someone to move first reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 733, a bylaw to provide for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. And someone to move second reading. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 733, a bylaw to provide for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. And someone to move third reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Sunshine Coast Regional District Bylaw number 733, a bylaw to provide for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. And someone to move adoption. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you very much. Now we're going to add in a late item, item number 14. This is in our amended agenda. Annex K, page 51. And this is Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 1056.1, a bylaw to amend the Egmont and District Fire Protection Service within a portion of the electoral area of Egmont, Pender Harbor. And did anyone want to speak to this, or we just want to go right into the bylaw reading?
This is a result of consultation with the community, and we are proposing to raise the maximum requisition limit from 90 cents per thousand to $1.42 per thousand, and I'm in favor of doing that.
Thank you. All right, so we are voting on this then. Will be all directors, 1 vote each. And we're looking for first, second, and third reading only. So this is Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 1056.1, a bylaw to amend the Egmont and District Fire Protection Service within a portion of the electoral area of Egmont, Pender Harbor. And someone move first reading. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. And Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 1056.1, a bylaw to amend the Egmont and District Fire Protection Service within a portion of the electoral area of Egmont, Pender Harbor. Someone move second reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. And Sunshine Coast Regional District bylaw number 1056.1, a bylaw to amend the Egmont and District Fire Protection Service within a portion of the electoral area of Egmont, Pender Harbor. And someone move third reading. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you very much. I think that's it for bylaws. All right. Thank you, staff, for pulling all of those together. Next up on our agenda is, sorry, Director Hiltz.
Chair, just had a quick question on the bylaw. It wouldn't have affected my vote, but if I may. It was the increase is to carry this service for a period of time forward. So what kind of time period is this? Hopefully this amount is going to be good for. Does anyone know what that's going to be?
It's a minimum of 2 years. It's planned for a minimum of 2 years, and depending on how events unfold during those 2 years, it could easily be no need to extend it or to go back for approval. But we won't know that till we get more information and we get further into the next 2 years.
Thank you. So, director's reports. How about if we start with those on screen first? How about if we start with Director Beamish and then Director Pratt, and then we'll come into the room here. And we need you to unmute yourself, Director Beamish.
It'd be even shorter if you couldn't hear me. Remind everybody that on December 19th, it'll be another community Christmas dinner. This year it's being held both in Gibsons and Seashell. I think they're also looking at a alternative pickup location in Seashell right now. We'll know more about that as of Friday. We're anticipating 800 plus dinners this year for Christmas. And so there'll be a busy time. If anybody wants to come out, it's a great community time. It's a great opportunity to serve and meet people, because people come through and they're really generally in good spirits. They reserve their dinners, so there'll be a family of 3 or 4. They'll come in and pick up a dinner. This year, of course, with Christmas, there'll be gifts for the kids, and we will also be delivering to homes, as well as to the shelters and the supportive living in places like this. So it'd be a great opportunity. So if you're interested at all in getting involved, it's easy to do, and nobody will be turned away for dinner, and nobody will be turned away for volunteering. Really appreciate it. Yesterday, I attended an hour-and-a-half session with the BC with POLIS, P-O-L-I-S, Water Sustainability, and UVic, and it was focusing on the BC Watershed Security Fund. Now, that's a new program. There's information about it. I have circulated a bit of it, and it really is, the province is going to get involved in watershed security. just give you a summary of some of the things on it. It's the purpose is to co-create fund governance with Indigenous peoples, ensuring explicit rules for First Nations in the governance and leadership structure, recognition of Indigenous rights and authority and principles. Establish a fund, it's the Watershed Security Fund, to provide consistent, sustainable funding in the range of $50 to $100 million annually over the long term. Implement a layered funding model, including one-time provincial endowment of $600 million and revenue sharing with First Nations and partnering with other funders. Allocate a minimum of $27 million in 22-23 provincial budget to continue the Healthy Wealth Watersheds initiative while this fund is being established. And the province commits to creating a watershed security fund presents once in a generation opportunity for this kind of investment. It's a great initiative, one that I think we need to be part of and be up to date on. The only thing that concerns me with it is that, and I don't know, you're not going to be able to see this, but if you look at the information they put out, it all has to do with lakes. There's no kind of recognition, in my view, of aquifers as watersheds. And it's something we need to keep pushing the button on, because in the Gibson's Elphinstone and West Howe Sound area, that's all aquifer directed watershed. And we need to make sure that we are part of this process. And we've started that process. What I've been looking for locally here is just kind of almost an ad hoc committee to get involved with keeping up to date on this. Sometimes when we go formally, it takes all sorts of process. There are people who are interested in being involved to come forward with a proposal. And I put a kind of a invite out to people saying, look, if you'd like to get involved in this, and several people have put their name forward. Suzanne Singer, Doug Martinson from Wasac, just say, yeah, they'd like to get involved in this right now at an informal level until we can bring a formal proposal forward. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. And I'm pleased to see I got appointed some kind of watershed governance committee or watershed committee there today, which would be very helpful on that. So thank you. And the third thing is that I believe both Director Seegers and myself are working with BC Healthy Communities on developing or testing a curriculum for excluded or for elected and staff of local governments, focusing on equity. I've done it's a 4-module program. I've done the first 2 modules right now, and I'll be doing the second 2 over this weekend. And it's intended to be an education opportunity, looking at equity in how we as local governments make decisions, fashion policy and bylaws and things of this nature. So it's very interesting. I've already made some comments that it doesn't recognize equity between local governments because all of their examples are big city examples, Surrey, Kelowna, places that they don't have a shortage or concern with staff being able to kind of redevelop or review their bylaws. So it's one thing I've mentioned in my comments so far, but I'll be finishing the next 2 modules on that before the weekend. So there are other things happening, but I'm just going to keep my comments and director reports to 3 things. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Pratt.
Thank you. I'm going to probably just keep mine to 1 unless something else pops into my head. But based on Director McMahon's very successful course, Regional District 101, a very opinionated view. She and I were the guests of honor at the Half Moon Bay Environmental Society's board meeting last month at the end of on November 30th, and we had a very great conversation and answered a number of questions on regional districts and provincial advocacy and areas of responsibility. And it was a very interesting, very lively discussion, especially as found from some of the correspondence I received after too, and I imagine Director McMahon did as well. That there were a lot of aha moments, I think, and a lot of I'll say WTH moments. And as everyone starts to learn more and more about the intricacies and the very siloed natures of how regional district budgeting goes, as well as what our actual areas that we deal with are. So that was it was a really engaging discussion, and thank you very much, Director McMahon, for being there, and thanks again for putting on that course through Elder College. That has been a tremendous source for our community, and I really do hope that you do it again, and I hope it's open to a wider audience beyond Elder College. Other than that, just a couple of things I would like to say about the Half Moon Bay Community Association. They're doing a lot of fundraising efforts right now for people in our community, especially children and families that are struggling. The best place to find out all that information is through their Facebook page or through their website. So that's Half Moon Bay Everything page. And there's a lot of concerns in the community. And then, of course, flooding issues, as we've all seen through all of our areas. But Modi has been pretty good in dealing with the majority of it. Let's hope that we have a slightly drier rest of the winter-ish, as long as our lakes are full. Chapman and our watershed is good, and let's hope that we don't see any more damage than what we've seen already. So that's all I've got for today. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll start at the other end of the table for me, Director Hiltz, and then work our way down the table.
Sure, thanks, Chair. I think for me, it's been kind of trying to come to grips with the scale of the damage that we've been receiving in the last 2 weeks, and we're not even kind of getting to it. And when it comes down to the local level, it's stormwater continues, and the ongoing problem seems to be more driveway culverts rather than Moti infrastructure. And we now have a new lake in West Seashell. It's called the Chamberlain Road Lake, which has been there during storm events. It's over 7 years. It leads into Shirley Macy Park. But it's I'm sorry? Oh, in Seashell, sorry, no. Shirley Macy in West Howe Sound is where the new lake is. Sorry about that. Yeah, people are really struggling to figure out how to solve the problems, and there just isn't many offers, and I think people are really struggling to see provincial infrastructure continuing to be damaged over years. And that's kind of where I have been in the last week, so that's it. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Toth?
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple things. We had 2 days of Seashell budget deliberations here a week ago or so. Still a fair ways away from knowing what our final tax increases are going to look like. But, there isn't much in the way of optional items this year in Seashell. We did cut or change funding on a lot of items that were being brought forward too. So we've started down the road for short-term rental regulations in Seashell finally. We had a bit of a workshop yesterday with some interactive polling, and EcoPlan International, I think they're called, will be coming back at our next committee meeting with some possible directions forward for us in terms of regulations that we can look to take to the community for consultation. We've got a public hearing for a small subdivision off of Nickerson Road next Wednesday at 6 p.m. So if round one budget here drags out to all 3 days, it's going to be a very long day for those of us from Seashell, because we also have a council meeting that night too. So beyond that, Festival of Lights and the Parade of Lights are this Saturday in Seashell from 5 p.m. onwards. Information's available on the Seashell Downtown Business Association website. And photos with Santa are back at Trail Bay Center this coming Saturday and the next Saturday as well. And those are from 10 till 2 or 10 till 3 by donation to the food bank. So I'm just going to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Director McMahon?
No, I'm wondering if that's a masked Santa, which is a whole other thing that I'd never thought about before.
It's a 6-foot separated Santa. He peeks out from between the trees behind people sitting on a bench.
I'm not even going there. Thanks to Director Pratt for, describing our interesting evening with the Half Moon Bay group. And I have nothing to add to that except that I do hope to offer my course again in the new year. And I'll update folks when I have some news. On December the 1st, I had a really interesting chat with Colin Dring, who is doing a PhD at UBC in agricultural planning. And his project right now is a scan of agricultural policies in all the regional districts in BC. Project that's he's doing with the University of the Fraser Valley and the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District with funding from the Vancouver Foundation. So that was very interesting. He's a really, really well-informed fellow. I didn't have enormous amounts to add to his research, but nonetheless, looking forward hopefully to seeing the results of his project. Appeared on the local government show. I'm gonna have to get the hang of that. I have to be careful what I say. That's awkward, not my strong suit. I have been talking to a lot of homeowners who've been affected by washouts and flooding. Pretty upset about it, obviously. I went down this week to view the king tides, 16.7 foot tides this week. Fortunately, the whole event was an anticlimax due to a lack of a storm front. And so we didn't have another sort of flooding emergency, saltwater flooding this time. And then I just wanted to mention that with one of my other hats, with the car co-op, this week we have a project going on in Powell River. The Coast Car Co-op and the City of Powell River are collaborating on expanding car sharing to Powell River. And so if you know anybody in the City of Powell River who might be interested in car sharing, please encourage them to contact the city. There's they also have their own version of Bang the Table, and they've got a page up for public consultation, and there's a survey to find out interest in car sharing. So very much looking forward to that initiative going forward.
Director Ties?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have much to report. It's been a quiet couple of weeks, apart from extensive dialogue on our various Facebook forums on the 1220 Lockyer, and I've referred those folks on to our planning at scrd.ca email, so I'm sure we'll get a nice thick binder handed to us when the public hearing comes. Yeah, other than that, I think it's been fairly quiet. I'm sure you've heard that Stevens Road is back in operation. At least cars can pass through there again. It looks like there was construction around Joe Road today. I assume it will be the left turn lanes that are going in there. So that's exciting. Yeah, other than that, the creek has been fairly quiet. Yeah, well, there's that Whitaker Road, and I do question whether throwing more rocks after rocks that didn't work the first time is the right approach, but that is once again another Moti thing. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Lee?
Thank you, Chair. Going to keep it a little lighter, I hope, here. There's a Pender Harbor Chamber of Commerce initiative to, they call it Make Madeira Parks Biffy Spiffy. It's kind of cool, actually, but their goal is to raise $40,000 for renovations for new anti-vandalism fixtures, low flush toilets, automatic handicap doors, wheelchair accessibility. It's a very worthwhile project. And they're asking for donations from the public, and they've got 7,000 now. It's going fairly well. But one of the articles in the Spiel said, from the chairman of the Commerce, Chamber of Commerce. We had a man trapped in one of the rooms and had to have the Pender Harbor firemen break him out. So doors and new locks are required as well. Whole new work for our fire department. And the other thing, and it's getting to be Christmas time, and I kind of like this. There's the 57th Pender Harbor Christmas Boat Parade, and it'll be happening on Saturday, December 18th. The boats will assemble at 5:30 to 5:45 in front of the Madeira Park docks, and then at 6 o'clock we go around the harbor. We go more than around the harbor. We also go out into Lee Bay as well. So it's real cool. And there's a real special boat that's always the best decorated but never seems to win a prize. And that's me, of course. Anyways, that's my report, and thank you.
Thank you. All right, what have I been up to? I think it's been a month now since I got elected. I don't know if I knew what I was stepping into here, so it's been quite busy. ICE-T Board of Directors meeting, and one of the things that's happening with ICE-T is the CEO, Lynn Robert, who's been there, I believe, something like 10 years, 13 years, is actually retiring. She's retiring halfway through this next year. So on the 29th, I spent the day in Courtney with the other group of the, I don't know, whatever you call us, the team that's looking at doing the interviews for candidates. We had 70 candidates apply for the position. We narrowed it down. We interviewed a number of them, and we're having second interviews early January, first week in January. Very good candidates. Over the last couple of weeks, I've spoken at the West Seashell Community Association along with GM Rosenboom. He was there talking about water. We had the Director of Planning from Seashell talking about development. I got to talk about cannabis. So I actually thanked them for inviting me to speak on that because I had to do my research and find out a lot about the legislation and where it's at and what's happening with it and review process and everything else. So we know that at this point, there's not much we as municipalities or local governments can do, but it is coming up for review. So we'll be looking at what we can do there. East Porpoise Bay Community Association, they sent me a list of questions ahead of time. Number them, what's happening with the government wharf in Seashell, to what's happening with short-term rental bylaws, the zoning bylaw, water came up, of course, so I had to talk about, I gave about 8 or 10 questions. It took about an hour. It was, I really enjoy those because when they send the questions, you can tell they're interested, they want to know what's going on, and they like the opportunity to be able to have the dialogue back and forth, right? So that really works. I had a meeting in the last couple of weeks with the Primary Care Network. So the Division of Family Practice on the Sunshine Coast has set up a primary care network. They're recognizing that we don't have sufficient general practitioners for our population, and maybe the doctor isn't the one who should be providing the service. They're not experts in social worker and financial supports for those who are having issues. So what they're looking at doing is how do they put together a network? So in one place, have the doctor, have the social worker, have a nutritionist, all the various practitioners in one facility so that there can be support for each other and actually have the hours that each puts in be more effective working together. So looking at how to do that piece. It was an interesting conversation. What I still find fascinating is that even though we have all of these various organizations and groups on the Sunshine Coast, they are, like we are at times, very insular. And they know what their issues are and what they need to deal with. They also know what's out of scope for them. And they had a list, actually, and I said, I'm looking at this list that you have out of scope. Well, there's lots going on in the community around these. So we're actually going to have a follow-up conversation so that we can share information and that they could potentially take part in some of these other organizations and groups that are looking at addressing some of these. For example, housing, right, is one. So it was a fascinating conversation. Partners in Change Society business plan review. So the business plan is pretty much done. We're going to be taking that out to the core tenants of this facility and see if we can get buy-in on everything we're looking at doing, and then potentially sign a lease for the main floor of the House of Clans. We'll bring together nonprofits and social enterprises on the Sunshine Coast for synergies. Director McMahon mentioned talk to your local government, and it was kind of a shot to the past. Sean Eckford actually was the interviewer. The others were all away on vacation and stuff, so it was kind of cool to see him there. We asked him if he was coming back. He said no. But he was good. I attended with Director Lee some Egmont Fire Hall conversations, meetings over the last, 5 days? I think we've had 3 meetings, including a meeting with staff. I think it was good. It was a lot of information that was put out to the community. While they may not totally agree with the direction we're going, they understand why we're going where we're going. So that was good. Salvation Army Kettle Campaign. So District of Seashell has taken on a couple of different slots. So last Saturday I was at the campaign in Trail Bay Mall, and this Saturday I'll be at Wilson Creek IGA looking for people to join me. So if you're looking for some time there, come on out. I'm there in the afternoon. Something else that's happening on the Sunshine Coast that came to my attention. When properties that are tenanted are sold on the Sunshine Coast, they typically are sold, particularly if they're sold to somebody moving into them, they're sold with, it's called vacant possession. So in other words, they have to give the tenant notice. They have to give them at least 2 months' notice, pay them a month of rent, and then they would vacate prior to a homeowner moving into the property. Well, there is a process if you get an eviction notice that you can dispute it with the residential tenancy branch. And so some of the tenants are doing this, which means that instead of vacant possession, because of the backlog at the residential tenancy branch, they are not moving out. And so the sales are not taking place. With financing, if they want to move into the property, the mortgage that they take is actually different if they're buying it as a tenant or as an investor or as a homeowner, like to move into it. So if that happens, that the tenant doesn't move out, their financing falls away, and there's some stuff going on behind the scenes and looking at how to deal with that on both sides. But it was quite an interesting conversation. Friday the 10th, there's the Sunshine Coast Circular Economy Lunch and Learn. So it's free to attend. It's put on by Scredo. If you go back to the Coast Reporter, there actually is information in the Coast Reporter about how to register for that. So we'll see some of you there. Seashell implemented our curbside organics and green waste collection. It's not going as smoothly as we'd like it to go, just say that, but it is moving forward. We did get an update on the Public Works and Parks Operations Center at the last meeting that we had, and they finalized the location on the site for the RV sanitary station, so the dumping station for RVs. So that's moving forward. The tender has closed for the Wharf Avenue Sidewalk Improvements Project, and construction slated to start in early 2022 with the target of substantial completion of April 30th, 2022. What else? Snicket Park Washroom Servicing Plan is complete. So one of the things we got was a tourism grant to put in a public washroom. There's a company in the interior that makes them. There used to be Portland Loo or whatever. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. I hadn't heard of it before, but Portland Loo, very expensive. So this company, local company, started building them. And they were taking one to drop off on Vancouver Island. And so they were driving through Seashell, let us know that they were driving through. So I know Director Toth and I both got out to see it. They had it on the back of a truck, completely stainless steel, got lights, everything else too. So they've got the servicing ready. Once the servicing is ready, this will be put in at the end of Snicket Park. We are going to be updating our audiovisual equipment in our community meeting room, which is much needed. so that we can work with hybrid meetings better. And then to the community, this is our last board meeting actually of 2021. It's our last board meeting, but we will be together next week for a number of days for our SCRD budget. And we start on Monday with the community partners. So that is all I have to report. Anything anybody missed that they wanted to add in? All right, then we'll move on to new business. Director McMahon.
On sober second thought, and having viewed the staff report on the costs of our latest emergencies to date, I think I would like to defer this item until our first meeting in January, when we have a little bit more information on the impact of these latest emergencies on our organization. And I'll work on something more concrete in the meantime.
Thank you. Director Pratt.
I was going to suggest to Director McMahon, if you and I want to have a little tete-a-tete about stormwater, there's a few things I think we can dig into in the background that have been going on at the provincial level that might be helpful to craft something. Sound good?
Thank you. All right, seeing nothing further, I would look for a motion to go in camera and that the public be excluded from attendance of the meeting in accordance with section 90, subsection 1A KM and subsection 2B of the community charter. Someone like to move that recommendation? Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. And then do we need a couple of minutes? Okay.
Oh, any questions from
Yeah. Any questions from the gallery? And I think, Donna, are you there?
Just press star 6 to raise your hand. Star 9.
Okay, star 6, I think, will let you unmute. There you are.
Just got myself unmuted, you guys.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, I didn't have anything to ask you this time. Just very happy to be back, sort of on board. Excuse my rough sounding voice. I've been all alone around here for hours and haven't been exercising my vocal cords. But in any case, I'm really proud of all of the people who have put themselves forward to do our municipal and our regional district work, because I understand that it was a hard enough job to begin with. It isn't made easy for you by a lot of other things, and just really happy to be back in the know and satisfied that I, at this point, until I can get myself actually out to the RD and into the building and actually see some faces. But anyways, Merry Christmas, all of you, and yeah, it's good to be back. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. All right, we are going to go in camera. So would you like a 5-minute break before we start?
Catherine.
Thank you.
Audience there.
Okay. It looks like we're live. So we are back to the board meeting of December 9th, and I'd look for a motion to adjourn. Moved, seconded, all in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you.